Hey, Mike, quite a day, huh?
Yeah, it was a good one. It's been, about 24 hours since we have a major breach and an executive order passed, right?
Exactly. Well, listen, I wanted to catch up with you before the sun went down, at least in California.
Yeah, no, it's good to be here. We're 24/7 in this work from home COVID world.
So, in all seriousness, what's I want to get your take on the executive order, especially coming on the heels of this attack at Colonial. I mean, this has happened before. We've seen government attack. We've seen major businesses attacked. We haven't quite seen people filling up plastic bags of gasoline, but we have seen passwords being called out as the initial attack vector, um, and this has been called out by experts. So why all the panic now?
Well, you're right. It's there is something different about this one. It's the size, the scale, it's the impact to so many Americans, right? People didn't take security seriously until 9/11. It takes typically a major incident for people to do the right thing sometimes, and that's what's going on here. So despite all the security professionals, doing the best they can, they're slammed. They've got new challenges, with everybody being digitally remote connected. But the criminals are taking advantage of it, and it just takes one weakness in a system, and that's it. The bad guys will get in. So companies are spending more time implementing systems than fighting attackers. They don't have time to really catch their breath.
So I guess that might explain why you and me are here on LinkedIn, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Um,
Okay, well, so what to do about it? I mean, what's the takeaway here?
well, the executive order is spot on, right? Better sharing, zero trust, better security controls. That says all the right things. And what's different about this, I think, this time is we have a very fresh incident in our minds. We got people buying dozens of gas cans, and as you said, pouring gasoline into plastic bags, which just sounds horrific. I don't know how that's going to work. And you go to put that back into your vehicle the next day. That'll make for some interesting TikToks, right? But the executive order does touch on a lot of the right things. And what's really great about it is it has timelines, right? Reviews in 60 days, implementation deadlines in 80 days. So it's a step in the right direction. Um, we're working with a whole bunch of companies to implement these controls. We've been doing it for a few years, but obviously things are a lot more aggressive now. So while this has been focused on the government sector, we definitely expect this to have, bleed over into the commercial sector as well.
Well, so can you talk about who you're working with?
Yeah, a couple of our large Wall Street banks and telco partners, for example, either them directly or through their downstream partners, are looking to use now identity for logon, right? Usernames, passwords, 2FA. We call those hope-based authentication. You hope they have the right password. You hope they get their text message. You hope that somebody else hasn't compromised it, et cetera. So what they're doing is now using identity, right? A trusted credential to get into their systems without usernames and without passwords, right? So, you know, a bank right down the street from us here in New Jersey are using it to get into their front door with identity.
So is the takeaway that we have to have a cataclysmic problem to move on this type of thing?
No, companies have been moving in that direction, but this is a catalyst that'll really accelerate change, right? So first, the government, I understand there's a lot of, non-top secret or lower security systems that are still username and password just from dealing with our government partners. That's going to change because those are typically a foot in the door. So blocking all them off is going to happen now at a much accelerated pace. And in the commercial sector, our customers are doing the right things. They've been doing this for a long time. So they've all had username, password, and typically a token or code. But that in itself is a huge productivity waste, right? Just dealing with
Mm-hmm.
passwords, having to change them every 90 days, fetching your code. What happens if you lose a code? So we've moved to a mobile being your primary authenticator with the biometrics built into the mobile. And you're in one step, 1 second without even touching the keyboard. And so they're looking at it not only from a security perspective, because it is more secure, you can't intercept a biometric, but it's also really about the user experience and getting rid of the burden on the help desk.
Got it. Got it. So the executive order mentioned, I think, zero trust. Now, I'm not an expert on zero trust, but this also sounds like maybe an area where government might be a little bit ahead of the private sector. Is that true, or can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, definitely for top secret systems, they've had requirements around credentials, credentialization, smart cards, and things like that that are way ahead. There's always that risk reward, right? Imagine if you made your 20,000 employees have smart cards, multiple for different systems, smart card readers at home, biometric readers at home, right? It would be a disaster. So the government's been ahead, but that's also been incredibly expensive. It slows things down. It can take you weeks to get a credential replaced or even just credential in the first place. But now today, we've got really the equivalent of a smart card in our hands. We've got a phone with a trusted platform module in it, right? That's a fancy way of saying a super safe place to keep the equivalent of a smart card certificate. So we leverage that. It's in everybody's hands already. And we leverage real user biometrics. And we really have something that's on par with what the government's been doing. So I see this, as an accelerator to get that adoption to more and more companies very quickly, especially with the Russians knocking at our door.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. All right, well, listen, I appreciate you taking time. I know it's late. Thanks for summing it up, and I'll reach out next time news like this breaks.
That sounds great. I'll see you at the gas station.
Thanks,
All right,
Mike.
take care.